NFL fans, you need to not only subscribe to NFL Daily, but also join the Noti Gang. Those are the folks that have their notifications turned on, and they're the very first ones to find out when we have new content here on NFL Daily. For the latest happenings across the National Football League, we are your off-season headquarters. We're talking everything from trades, free agency, drafts, and more. We're covering the NFL playoffs as well. Don't miss a single moment of it. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, hit the Noti bell. We'll get started with today's show. Diana Rossini, fan. Oh, I think that's what the kids call a bonk. Checking in the chat. First question says, do you trust Lamar Jackson in the postseason? His track record isn't that great in the playoffs. Well, Diana Rossini fan, let's talk about that here. Lamar Jackson, big game coming up this weekend against the Houston Texans. And I got to tell you, I think this is a different Lamar Jackson than what we've seen in the past in these postseason games. And here's the big difference for me. This is why I'm sold that Lamar Jackson is going to get the job done this weekend, and why I believe that Lamar Jackson can take the Ravens to the Super Bowl. The system is set up for it this time. I believe he was held back in the past by Greg Roman. Greg Roman didn't know anything about how to orchestrate a passing offense. And now what we've seen from this passing offense with the Baltimore Ravens, with Todd Monken really just, creating quite the arsenal attack, and with the receiving core, how creative they've gotten, even without Mark Andrews, with the way Isaiah Likely stepped up. For me, that's the difference. We know Lamar can run. We know the Ravens are going to run the football with their running backs, and Dalvin Cook's a part of the equation now. I trust Lamar Jackson. I have no reason to not trust Lamar Jackson. In fact, I would even take things a step further and say it was blown way out of proportion the last several years when we heard Lamar can't win in the playoffs. Lamar can't get it done. Lamar is fine. He's going to play well. I expect nothing but the best from the MVP. He's going to show up in crunch time. And look, it's not like everybody is a Patrick Mahomes or a Russell Wilson that wins the Super Bowl within their first few years. Even Big Ben, I get it. He won a Super Bowl in his second season in the league. Sometimes these things take time. Lamar Jackson, his time is now. So, what's your confidence level in Lamar Jackson? Scale it for me, 1 through 10. How are you feeling about the Ravens QB? I feel very confident. I'm going with a 9. No one I'd rather roll with this postseason than Lamar Jackson. Let me know, our pinned comment today, your confidence level. Christopher writes in, is Jim Harbaugh going to the NFL? Yes, I do. I think he is joining his brother John in the National Football League. And you think about it this way, okay? There's a few reasons why I think Jim Harbaugh is going to the NFL. The number one reason, I think he accomplished everything he set out to do at Michigan. It feels like when LeBron came back to Cleveland, brought home a title, and then departed to the Los Angeles Lakers shortly thereafter, he understood the assignment. The mission was accomplished, right? Jim Harbaugh came to Michigan, and none of us ever thought it was a long-term thing. The goal was to get his team to beat Ohio State, to win the Big Ten, and to win a national title. He has done everything he set out to do and brought home a title to his alma mater and has set them up for success for many years after he's gone. And they already have their replacement lined up with Sharon Moore, ready to take that job whenever Harbaugh steps away. The other factors, I think Harbaugh's always wanted to be back in the NFL. He is an NFL coach. He belongs in the National Football League. You don't have to deal with NIL and, all the recruiting nonsense and all that. We know that Michigan's got the investigations going on, and I don't think that he wants to deal with the NCAA anymore. So all those things, yes, I do think he's coming back. I would guess he goes to the Chargers, pairs up with Justin Herbert, but we'll see. But I do expect Harbaugh back in the NFL. Dave Chappelle. Good to see you, Dave. One of my favorite comedians. What will happen to Odell Beckham after this year? Will the Ravens bring him back? So that's a very good question. We heard from OBJ before the start of the 2023-2024 season say that he could potentially retire after this year, that he wanted one more go at a Super Bowl run. And for this Ravens team, you look at what they bring to the table, they got 20-plus free agents coming up this offseason. This feels like one shot, as Eminem once said, for the Ravens to get this right and to capitalize on this potential run here. I think that OBJ is going to be back in Baltimore next year, that we've seen him gel so much with Lamar. He and John Harbaugh and Monken, this coaching staff, they're all on the same page. We've heard nothing but positive things about OBJ. And you can't say that about OBJ throughout his entire career. You go back to Cleveland, that ended up poorly. You go back to the Giants, that ended poorly. He's found a good home in Baltimore, and I expect them to keep him, maybe not for the money he's making now, but a role of some sorts for him. What do you guys think? Will OBJ return to the Ravens next season? Type OBJ for yes. Type no BJ for no. No man should be ever have to go with no BJ. What do you guys think? OBJ for yes. No BJ for no. Chime in the comment section and let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less. Whether you're talking fantasy points, passing yards, rushing yards, and more. You can mix and match different leagues, the NFL, NBA, NHL, and more. Prize Picks this week, I got Lamar to have more than 226.5 passing yards. Zay Flowers to have more than 51.5 receiving yards. And C.J. Stroud to have less than 257.5 passing plus rushing yards. Yeah. Play along with me. PrizePicks.com/SailNS. If I put $20 down and that hits, we're making $100 in Prize Picks, folks. Join us. PrizePicks.com/SailNS. Promo code SailNS for $100 deposit match. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Terms and conditions do apply. PrizePicks.com/SailNS. Jim Evan writes in, will Carolina sign Ben Johnson as head coach? The answer, no. Carolina's the worst job opening. They don't got picks. You got a rookie quarterback with question marks. You got a crazy-ass owner. Ben Johnson's going to have his pick of a couple different jobs to see what he wants. I don't think he wants that Carolina job. I would be surprised, Jim Evan, if that's the case. Then another question. Should Ryan Fitzpatrick try to be an offensive coordinator? He technically was a quarterback coach at Miami when Tua was the quarterback and he was the backup. Maybe if he wants to. I personally like him on the Amazon Thursday Night Football pregame show. He does a good job there with those guys. With who's on that show? Richard Sherman, Andrew Whitworth, Tony Gonzalez. They need to get rid of Tony G. Tony G sucks on TV. But Fitzpatrick's fine on TV. I mean, the TV life, I'm sure, is paying him well and is stress-free. But if he wants to be an OC, I mean, he could go for that, I guess. But sounds like he's got a pretty cush life as is. Okay, so funny story. We got Draco Pimpin, but I don't think Draco sounds great, to be honest. So I call him Draco. He's Draco now. Draco Pimpin writes in, who is made the biggest jump this year player-wise? Second-year players. Okay, very good question. Second-year players that have made a big jump this year. You know, I look at second-year players. That's a very specific question. You know, let me pull up the All-Pro list and let's talk about it here. Specific second-year players. In real time here. There's not any that come to mind right off. I guess Kyle Hamilton. That's one, of course. Kyle Hamilton was an All-Pro. We knew Kyle Hamilton was going to be good. It was just a matter of the Ravens really increasing his role. That was one specifically that came in. Sam Laporta, the Detroit Lions tight end, was another one that comes to mind that I think would be. Those are kind of the two for me on that front as far as second-year players go. But thank you, Draco, for that. Mr. Sports writes in, do you see the Lions getting another pass rusher to help Aiden Hutchinson in the draft? Lions need some help on defense. You can never have too many pass rushers. Yeah, I absolutely could see that, Mr. Sports. Thanks for that question there. What do you guys think? Who wins the Super Bowl? Who's going to be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy when it's all said and done? Weigh in the comments section. Tell me who you think that team will be.